Hello there, my name is Manoa. Welcome back to another high-touch, high-tech lesson where we're going to be talking about building blocks. Blocks for building. Building what? I don't know exactly, but grab these things. It's a bag with other bags. Whoa! Yes, it has a marshmallow. In other places we say delicioso, am I right? Yes, a marshmallow, a plate, some beads, among other stuff inside of there. Grab that. And in the envelope, there's a styrofoam plate that you need to grab. Not included, we need a bottle of water, if you can, drinking water, and a pair of scissors. All right, now, if you are ready, we're going to get started, okay? Now, if you think about everything that is around you, do you know what everything is made out of? Do you know what your hair, your eyes, your beautiful face, the walls, the trees, do you know what everything is made out of? Everything is made out of these super tiny things called atoms. Okay, so what are atoms? What are these building blocks of everything? Well, if you take a look at this paper, if you took this paper and ripped it, and ripped it again, 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 and ripped it again. Notice it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller every time I cut it. It's gonna become way too small that it's too small for me to cut. And guess what? The word atom is actually just the Greek word for uncuttable because it becomes way too small to cut. Like, now it's becoming too small for me to cut. But atoms are really, really super tiny that you could definitely not see it with your eyes. Not even with scientists' most amazing microscopes can you see it. You can't see it with that. And even light doesn't even interact with these little tiny atoms that are building blocks for everything in the world.
So what is an atom?
A great question! Well, first, atoms are not made of just one, not two, not even 5 or 7, but 3 parts. Yeah, atoms are made up of little tiny particles that we call protons, neutrons, and electrons. So how does that combine together? Well, the atom has a center that we call the nucleus. And in the nucleus, you got the proton and the neutron that stay together, giving each other a big hug. I love you, don't ever leave me. And on the outside, you got one that's going crazy. Electron. It's like me. I'm a little bit crazy. But anyway, the electrons are always going around super fast around the nucleus, around the proton and the neutron. And this electron goes so fast that you can't really see it. It makes kind of like a shell, kind of like a cloud. Just the same way as if you would see like a helicopter, right? It's spinning. Of course, there's 2 rotors, right? But when it spins really fast, it just looks like, a circular disc or a circular shell, kind of like a cloud almost in a sense, right? So the same thing happens with these electrons that are going around our protons and neutrons, but all together that would make an atom. So you know what? We are gonna build ourselves an atom to better understand the building blocks of everything. Then let's make an atom, specifically a helium atom. And we'll talk about this in just a second as to what is that, okay? But first, let's grab all these parts. We need our pair of scissors, the bag with yellow sand, the styrofoam plate, Q-tip. There are 3 stickers in the bag, one that says electron by itself, helium by itself, and then proton and neutrons, which are together like this. There's also a bag of glue and a bag of beads. So, before we begin, let's talk again about the parts to an atom. They have little tiny particles that it's made up of, which are the protons and the neutrons and the electrons. But remember, the protons and the neutrons are right in the middle of the atom, called the nucleus, and the electron is going crazy all around the protons and the neutrons in the nucleus. So let's do that first. Let's put the nucleus together right in the middle. So grab the sticker that says proton and neutrons, peel that off, and take that and put it right in the middle of your atom. Why? Because that's the center, that's the nucleus of our atom that has the protons and the neutrons. Then we're going to take the electron sticker. And remember, the electron doesn't stay in one spot. It does not stay in one spot. It goes crazy everywhere. So we're just going to put this on the outside. I'm going to put mine right up here. Okay, when it goes crazy, it orbits around the nucleus. It doesn't stay in one spot, right? It goes so fast that it kind of makes a little shell, a little cloud, electron cloud. And we're going to do that in just a second with the rest of the things that we have here. But like how I said earlier, we're going to be building a helium atom. Okay, so a helium is one of the many different types of atoms. There's a lot of different types of atoms, and you might already know that helium is the very atom that we use inside of balloons, okay? So in a helium atom, it has these particles as well. It has protons, neutrons, and electrons, but specifically, they have 2 of each, okay? The atomic number is 2, meaning it has 2 protons, 2 neutrons, and 2 electrons. Now, I know we included 3 of each, but we're only gonna use 2 of each of these colors, and you can tell that they correspond to the color of these different particles that we have here. Okay, so how are we gonna do this? We are basically gonna use the glue to put it onto there so that we can stick our little particles onto there. Okay, so we're gonna put some glue next to the proton and the neutron so that we could put it as the center, as the nucleus, right? So all we need to do with the glue is same thing as usual, turn it to the side, squeeze the edge, and once you squeeze the edge, we're gonna cut off a little piece, just a little piece so that we can only squeeze a little bit of the glue out at a time. So that's good. Okay, then let's take out a little bit of glue, enough for 4 pieces because there's protons and neutrons. But remember, this is a helium atom, so that means it has to be 2 protons and 2 neutrons. Okay, so let me just get the glue and put a little circle right over here. That's good enough. And what we're gonna do next is we wanna grab protons are red, neutrons are blue for our experiment here. Then just go ahead and open up the bag of beads. You could take them all out, actually. Remember, we only need 2 because it's a helium. So 2 protons, meaning 2 red ones. So let's get those. 1 and 2. And then we have the 2 neutrons. And the 2 neutrons would be right under it. Why 2? Because again, it's a helium atom. So there are 2 right there. Now try not to move your plate too much because this is still wet and we don't want it to move from where it is. But also the helium, like all atoms, also have an electron, okay? So how many? Again, it's a helium, atomic number is 2. That means it needs just 2 of these. But remember, the electrons, they don't stay in one spot. They go crazy, they go everywhere. So we want to kind of make the same thing happen here. We're going to make an electron cloud. So how do we do that? Well, let's grab our glue, and I like to make a big circle around our nucleus, around our protons and neutrons. So just take your bag of glue and just kind of make a circle all the way around it. Let's use the rest of the glue, okay? So you could keep on making glue around the rest of that atom that we have here. And we're not just gonna put a big circle around there. There's something else that we're gonna be doing after this. But let's just take out as much of that glue as we can. And on top of this glue, now we're going to finally put on the electrons, the yellow beads. So you could put it one over here and one over there, let's say, just like that. But that's staying still. How do we make it look like it's moving around, like there is a electron cloud? Well, we're gonna take our Q-tip and kind of spread around the outer glue of the electrons. Okay, so just use your Q-tip, just kind of make little swirls and just spread it around. Even you could put it at the edge of the plate, okay, not just at one spot. And try not to move the bead, just kind of keep it there so you can know that it is an electron that's moving around in where you're putting the glue. But once you spread it around like this, then we're going to put on the sand to make it look like it has the cloud on it, right? The electron cloud. So just go ahead and take the sand. I like to just sprinkle it everywhere as much as you can, okay? And try not to get it on the glue that is on the nucleus, the proton and the neutron, but just everywhere else that we see here. Just, you know, nice and well, just like that, okay? Now, once you do that, what you could do is just take another piece of paper to pour the rest of the sand out onto, because not all the sand is going to stick. So what you could do is you could just grab another piece of paper and just put it right on top of there and lightly tap it. Let me do it this way. And now, whatever's stuck onto there is stuck onto there. But let's take a look at what we just made. We've made an electron cloud. Remember, the electrons don't stay still and they go super fast, and you kind of can't see it. It makes a little shell, a little cloud. And so here we got our electron cloud. That's all of that yellow sand where the electrons are going around. But the protons and the neutrons, are they going anywhere? No, they are staying right in the nucleus, right at the center. But since this is a helium atom, do you guys remember how many protons, neutrons, and electrons they have? 2, because the atomic number of helium is 2. But anyway, here we go. We've made ourselves our helium atom. So sometimes these crazy atoms share their crazy electrons. And whenever they share the electrons together, it makes what we call a chemical bond. But whenever you have one atom shared together and linked and connected with another, we call that a molecule. Sometimes these atoms would share these electrons with each other. Maybe it's 1 electron or 2 electrons. And whenever they do that, they become connected. As an example, let's pretend that this delicious marshmallow is an atom. And here's another atom. And they went out to the park. Oh, hello there, Tommy. How you doing? Oh, hey, Jimmy. Hey, you want to go to the park and eat some food? Oh, yeah, we good. Okay, so they go on down to the park, okay? But they don't have their food. Oh, only Tommy has it. I only has the food. So how can they all be well together? Well, he has to share something. So let's say he finally has his food. So by himself, this is just an atom with an electron, right? With his food, let's say. But in order for them to be together, they gotta share. So they're gonna share their food. And once they share it, then they could finally be connected. They could be together, right? So it's the same thing with our molecule. It can finally become a molecule when we got one atom sharing an electron with another. And by doing this, this is them sharing this electron, which we call a chemical bond. Them sharing this together. And again, with these two, it's finally a molecule. It could be 2 or more. And also looks like, go work out with this one. I'm just kidding. But let's make our own molecule with this guy. Then let's make our molecule. And these are the parts that we need. We need the plate, and inside of the plate there should have been some pretzel sticks and also 3 marshmallows inside of your bag as well. So please keep everything on top of your plate. That way it's not gonna be dirty anywhere else, right? And also, after we finish this experiment, don't throw away the plate because we're gonna be needing it for our last experiment as well. Okay, so just like how I said earlier, we're gonna pretend that these little marshmallows are atoms. So, hello, Mr. Atom. Hello there, how you doing? Right, so remember, if it's by themselves, they're just atoms. But once they are connected together with a chemical bond, they become a molecule, whether it's 2 or more, okay? But right now, is this a molecule? No, because they're not sharing an electron, right? So they need to be able to share an electron. So what you need to do is just grab these pretzels, and we're gonna pretend that this is an electron, right? And we'll just poke it into your marshmallow. You gotta really push it. So it sticks right into there. There we go. Okay, so it has an electron, and there is our atom here. But again, by itself, it's not a molecule, okay? But once they share the electron together with another atom, making a chemical bond, then it becomes a molecule. So all you need to do is just take the other end and push it into the other marshmallow, and look at that. I can work out. Oh, gonna get some muscles. But we're not done. We're not completely done here yet. Now, what you can do next is we're gonna take another electron. Remember, a molecule doesn't just have to be 2 atoms. It can be 3 or more, right? So take another electron and poke it into one of these, any one of these atoms. Just poke it in. Remember, it's a good thing when you push this in, it's good if you twist it. It's good if you twist it. It makes it a lot easier to push all the way in. Then finally get your last atom and push it in. And if you push it in, again, just kind of twist it, push it in, and look, I got 3 atoms together that are connected and sharing these electrons, making chemical bonds between each other. And so since they're all connected together, this is another type of molecule. You could kind of imagine this as a water molecule. Water molecules, like we call it H2O, right? It's sharing the oxygen in the middle, the hydrogen on the outside. But anyway, it's just as an example, kind of like that. And we got ourselves a molecule here. And if you got some extra pretzels, well, happy birthday. You can eat them if you want. And if you want to, you can also eat this. Yeah. When you look at the planet Earth, do you know what it's mostly covered in? Well, we see a lot of land. We're always around a whole bunch of land. We don't live out in the ocean. But guess what? There's a lot more ocean on the surface of the planet Earth than there is land. As a matter of fact, there are about 75% of the surface of the planet Earth is just covered in that unique and amazing molecule called water. 75%. And what's even more interesting is the same thing happens with our bodies. Our bodies are mostly made up of water. When we're born, it's about 72% amount of water inside our bodies, right? And then when we grow a little bit older, we kind of lose a little bit. It becomes about 60% of our entire body is made up of water. Even though there's a lot of stuff, most of it is actually just water.
What? Where is all the water?
I know, right? Well, try this. Touch your face. Does it feel wet? No. Touch your shoulders. Does it feel wet? No. Touch your knees and your toes. Do they feel wet? No. Then where's the water? If we're mostly made up of water, then where is it? Right? Well, it's inside of these little tiny things that are what make up our bodies, called cells. Yeah, and the cells are basically just little atoms mixed together, molecules put together to make these little tiny cells, but most of the cell is filled with water, okay? And there are special cells that make up different parts of our bodies, but specifically, if you think about your hair and your skin and your fingernails, that is actually made up from a big molecule protein called collagen. And collagen is very elastic. What does that mean? Stretchy, already gummy. That's why you could see my face is very stretchy. You could do that with your skin too, right? You could just stretch it. As you can see, it's very stretchy. Why? It's because it has some of that collagen and the cells are filled with mostly water. So you know what? We're gonna be making something that's very gummy, and you could also even eat it. Ooh. Then let's make some collagen balls. Grab the bag with what we call goo crystals. Bunch of powder inside of it. Grab the little mini pipette, the plate, paper plate, and the water bottle that's not included. Preferably drinking water, since we're gonna eat this, okay? So what we're gonna do here is we're just gonna take some of this goo crystal and mix a little bit of water in it, which kind of makes it gummy, which is a lot like the collagen that we were talking about earlier, right? How collagen is in our hair, in our fingernails and such, and even in our skin, and that's why it makes it so elastic, just like how you see here. So we're gonna make a little tiny mound of that goo crystal. Now notice I didn't really use all of it. I could save some for a little bit later, but I made a little mountain. Okay, now you don't want to shake it, you don't want to make it flat, because you'll see right now. Once you put the water on, little drops of water, then they will roll up into little gummy balls. But before you put water on there, first thing we want to do is we want to practice making small drops, just single drops. So grab a little bit of water by squeezing and letting go. So there's this pipette's filled with water, and then if you just slowly squeeze them, very gently squeeze. You can see there's a drop of water. So just practice doing a little drops at a time. Okay, we don't want it to be a complete stream like that. We don't want that to happen. But we want a little, just one drop like that at a time. Okay, so once that happens, then what we want to do is we want to start putting some of the drops onto our goo crystals here, okay? So I like to do about 10, however many you could fit, but let me do 10 first, okay? 10 little drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, so just about that much. You might double up on some of the water, but now we're just gonna wait and we're gonna count to 10 so that it can soak up that water. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then I take my mini pipette and I scoot out these little pieces that have soaked up the water. And guess what? You can eat it. Take some. Let's see what you got. Delicioso. I'm not done yet. I still have some more powder. So guess what? You can take some more of that water, drop it on there, and do however many you can, okay? So what you can also do is you can wait a little bit longer. I find that whenever I wait a little bit longer, it really makes it very gummy. So it's up to you, whatever you want to do. You already got some right here, and also you got some more inside of here. So what you could do is if when you're done, there's still some more powder, maybe just put it back in the bag and save it for later. So you can have some dessert later, am I right? So after you've waited for about 10 seconds or so, 20, 30, then take your mini pipette, scoot it out, and now we feast. Don't worry about me, I'm just gonna get on. I'm not crazy. I just like this, it's really delicious. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy your collagen balls, your goo crystals. It's muy delicioso. Well, there you go. I hope you had loads of fun. I certainly did. And until next time, ta-ta and farewell.